Yeah. Got the flight book, it's a library. I'm in that deal. Just took a flight to Bora and foreign cars like foreigners. Berry on her. Up in France, bitch, bonjour. I been come to go so we going Paris tomorrow. Only Paris we carry, spin at the mall. We doing the same alone. My diamonds be saying, add some more change. That's the same alone. Dripping all the way from home and taking the wrong. Got the flight book, it's a library. We ain't flying solo. Tune in to the show. It's the Passport Bros. No excuse entertainment. Jay Slay on the show. Turn it up some more. It's the Passport Bros.
Yo. What's good? Oh man. Welcome to the Passport Bros podcast on today's morning rant. Let me know if my connection is good, because I want to get right to it, man. I am gonna let people come up after I give my rant, but oh man, I gotta be honest with how I feel, man. Shout out to Traveling Tony. Shout out to Rico. He said, "Don't do it. Turn it off now." Oh man. So I gotta call out some hypocrisies, man. And I was just yesterday, somebody brought to my attention that a popular pro, got married. And I'm just like, oh my God, not again. And, I know a couple of known pros, especially out of Colombia, that got married. I know it was a guy. He married this one chick. I'm not gonna say their names, but this guy, he married a chick out of Cartagena. She used to work in I can't think of the club right now, but she used to work at one of the clubs in Cartagena. That didn't pan out. I knew a guy, he married this Dominican chick that was a prostitute. That didn't work out. And this guy married this Venezuelan chick. And I guess that's to be determined, but I'm just gonna say this right now. I don't want to say I'm not. On one hand, I don't want to judge. I'm not judging, but I will express the things that I wouldn't do. There's just got to be it has to be some line drawn in the sand when it comes to men. It has to be a line, especially with the Passport Bros. The Passport Bros are supposed to be a elite group of men that have, took the risk to travel abroad for various reasons. It's supposed to be men that are, awakened to a lot of things that's going on in Western or liberal societies. But a lot of, I'm going to highlight three things, but a lot of these guys, they do the same thing that they complain about what the women are doing. The same thing they complain about what the women are doing. And I'm going to mention all those things. I'm very uncomfortable, and I cannot co-sign, marrying a prostitute. or former sex worker. You know, in my personal belief, you shouldn't even if a guy married a chick that used to be a sex worker, it should be a situation where he just didn't know and she kept that from him. You know what I mean? And if they got married, you know, you stay married because you know you created a covenant, but you know, if you didn't know, if she kept it in the past, that's the only situation where, you know, that should occur. But you went in knowingly that she was a sex worker is very, very problematic. It's problematic for a lot of societal reasons. Um, the passport bro movement was about having options. And so what you're signaling to the world and signaling to younger men is that your best option was a prostitute. Think about that. Think about that. You know, people might say, well, that's the option that man chose, or it's not your life. You're dick policing, whatever the case may be. It is not it is not a manly thing to do. It's just not a manly thing to do. So, and I don't want to be a hypocrite. You know, anybody could fall into that situation where they could be compelled to marry, you know, a former sex worker. You know, shit, I could be in a weak state because that's what it is. I could be in a weak state and be like, man, this is my best option. You know, she the most attractive woman I could get. You know, she's gonna please me sexually, and you know, she seems like she has, you know, she can, you know, do wifely duties. But just because just because that possibility could happen doesn't make it right. It's just not right, especially you knowingly doing it. So I have a huge problem with guys wifing up pros. Now, can it be a benefit? Yeah, some guys may benefit. Some guys it may be a financial benefit. You know, and so I could respect the game. If you know what I mean, like some guys is a financial benefit. You know, she's an asset that's contributing to generating income for the household. That's an asset, you know. But there's a lot of the psychology behind it is fucked up, you know, especially if you bring kids into the picture. Um, you know, I as a I'll say this. I would not like the idea of knowing if my mother was a former sex worker. That is not something, one, I wouldn't want to know, and two, I would be very ashamed of. You know what I mean? Especially if it was a circumstance where she um, voluntarily did it. Now there are women that are forced into that lifestyle at a young age. So there are some exceptions, but women that voluntarily do that, a boy doesn't want to have that he doesn't want to have that in his psychology. He doesn't want to know that that's where he came from. People can talk about, well, you know, people make mistakes, you know, people were young and things like that. That's all fine. But the premise is knowingly know that person, you know. I was thinking about something biblical. So Paul the apostle in the Bible, you know, he was formerly Saul of Taurus. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just going off my head, but his name was different. And Paul he did every sin you could imagine. And he changed his life and changed his name. He became a new person. So people that people that encountered Paul without him mentioning it, they didn't know his past. And his past really wasn't important, you know. And even Paul decided that he didn't want to get married. So me thinking about that, if a woman reforms herself, changes herself, and you meet her and you don't know, that's understandable. But knowingly going into that situation is just not a good look. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying, Tony. Let me point out some hypocritical things real quick. The first one being is that, and I'm gonna get into why I mentioned good girls finishing last. Guys are being like the women they complain about. So here's the first thing. So you got these guys, a lot of these guys, they'll complain about, black women in the US, they be twerking, doing degenerate things, right? There was some women twerking at the slave, what was the slave dungeons in Ghana. Very, very disrespectful, right? We would call that pookie behavior, right? But on the same hand, guys will go overseas and, throw money, get into situations, exhibit a lot of pookie behavior. So it's kind of like we can't be hypocrites. That's my issue. We can't be hypocrites. We can't call out women for being degenerates in the US, and then we go overseas and do a lot of degenerate things. That is it makes the movement laughable. It makes the movement very laughable. And so the reason why I'm just venting about this is because we can't be hypocritical, or else you can't say that you're no better than these other women. Here's the other thing. Average black man, we're talking about passport bros, they want most of them, they want dimes. They want highly attractive women. But on the same hand, he'll complain about average women wanting a high value man. So what's the difference between an average man wanting a highly attractive woman versus an average woman wanting a high value man? Like, we can't be hypocrites. We can't be hypocrites. And the last point is we will all say, include myself, we will say, good guys finish last. Repeat, good guys finish last. Now, I would say that most of the guys that travel, I would say they're good guys. When I say good guys, they are guys that typically know how to be respectful, a gentleman, don't mind paying for a first date. got they stuff in order, whether they went to school or college or got a trade. For the most part, I would say most guys that travel would fit in that good guy category, which is the opposite of what a quote unquote bad boy is. Somebody that's in the streets, got multiple baby mamas, somebody that just doesn't fit the profile of marriage material. So I would say most passport bros, would fall under that good guy. So if good guys finish last, what does that mean? So when people say good guys finish last, that means that these good guys are being picked over for bad guys, whether it's from the good girls or bad girls. Good guys are picked over for the bad guys. But the hypocrisy is the good girls are getting passed over for the prostitutes. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. You cannot. If I can, I don't ever want to hear a guy say that he's a good guy. I don't ever want to hear a guy say good guys finish last, but then he goes around and messes with the bad girls. That is total hypocrisy. That is total hypocrisy. Let me see who we got in the chat, man. I got somebody in the background. Let me bring up Rico real quick. What up, Rico, man? Let me catch up. Let me catch up on some of these comments real quick.
I'm just loving your rant, though, man. Woo! What done got into you?
Man, when I see a pro, bro, especially a cocky pro get married,
really,
it is a trick. That's a trigger for me.
Okay,
that's a trigger for me.
At least tell me she was a dime, at least.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, she better be a dime if she a pro.
You would hope.
She better be.
You would hope, but I'm really, really proud of what you're saying and that you came to this place of your own accord. Because me and my brother, we've been saying this for years. We've been saying this, and I've seen other guys starting to slowly but surely speak up on it. So I was shocked when I saw your title. I was like, whoa. But they're gonna drag you.
No, they don't want to drag me on this because the gloves will be off.
Well, because I know you got the receipts. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, even as an outsider outside the movement, you could see these things. You know what I'm saying? No excuses. You could see everything you're describing. Just like you said, they're not getting the good girls because they're drawn to the pros. That's what they're doing. So like I would always say clearly, every woman in the DR, Colombia, Brazil, any of these countries are not pros. No way, no how. However, every woman that the passport bros seem to be dating are pros. So like Peso would say, it's like for some reason you skip all the regular women and just keep dating pros over and over and over again. And that, you know what? Here's the thing. That is absolutely fine. There's no problem with it. No one ever said there was a problem with it. The problem is always, I'm like, you could have been over there dating, sleeping with, and marrying your pros all you want quietly.
Exactly. Exactly. If I married a prostitute, it's gonna be in secret.
Yeah, I wouldn't be on YouTube. I wouldn't be in none of y'all groups. I'd get my hoe, go up in the hills somewhere, and live my life happy. But
well, you could be on YouTube, but she wouldn't be known to the public.
Right, but that's why I wouldn't even bother because I would be afraid it would come out. You know what I'm saying? It's like shit. If you get too big, they're gonna do your ass like a politician and start digging in your background. So I would rather be like, you know what? I'm happy with her. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna make my money, and you still can live like a king in these places. These niggas act like they can't live like a king without putting this shit. And it goes to what you said. It's the message that they're sending. It's the message that they're telling other young men, oh, shit on a promiscuous black woman back home, but come over here and wife up a chick that let's do this math experiment. How many days a week out of a 7-day week do you think a pro is working? And I want you to give me a conservative number of days.
Man, she working every day except Easter and Christmas.
But I'm right. And I'm not trying to, I think that, but I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna say 4 days a week, 3 days off. I'm just gonna pretend, and I know that that's not true. Now you say to yourself, how many dates a day of those days is she turning? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? An average.
I mean, it depends on the country. I mean, right. Some countries it might be none a day.
Right, but that's why I said we're only looking at 4 days a week. How many dates do you think she might turn? Is it unusual to say she turning 2, maybe 3 dates a day?
If it's Colombia, she might average one a day or five a week. If it's Colombia, okay. You know what I mean. So
let's give it 5 a week. That's 20 a month. That's 20. How many is that a year?
That's 20 a month,
right?
Yeah, 60. What? Hold on. No. 20. That's 20. Yeah.
That's 200 dicks a year. We would be burning black women to the stake if they admitted that. And you married her. And that's all I'm saying. It's like, but every time when you try to tell these guys, it's like, oh, you the dick police, you pocket what? And I'm like, there are plenty of Colombian women who ain't turning 20 dicks a month.
Well, I think it's because of who the messenger is. Like, you know, you and Peso, y'all the messenger coming from a.
They hate us, so I get that.
You know what I mean? I'm coming from a good place. It's coming from a good place.
But the thing is the message the same?
Yeah, the message is pretty much the same.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad you doing it, sir. That's why I'm up here to support you. I was like, there you go. It ain't gotta be me. Let it be somebody that they can't, you know, like knock down your bona fides. You got the bona fides. They can't take that away from you. You travel. You've been in all these countries. They can't say anything about you. Because like, no, this nigga done been there. So now knock it off. But go ahead, sir. Hey,
Buck Travel, what's good, man? Unmute your mic.
Good morning, y'all. Yeah, I definitely agree, man. So a lot of guys complain about the single moms in the States only to go overseas and bail out a Dominican or Colombian or Thai women with 3 kids by 3 different baby dads. So make that make sense. Like they will complain about the 3 or 4 culture over here in the States, but then they will go overseas and wife up a 3 or 4. Does that make sense? It's like I've been saying this also on the Peso channel for the longest. I've been saying, yo, this is like hypocrisy. At least if you're gonna go overseas, at least get a good girl. She doesn't have to be like a 10. But just at the bare minimum, just get a good girl that comes from a good family, you know. And I definitely agree with you. A lot of the guys, just overall in the world, they want that baddie, but that baddie comes with like consequences. Like she might have a bad personality and all that. So they're missing out on the good women. So I definitely agree. Good women do finish last because not a lot of guys want good women.
And
because they're so focused on looks instead
Yeah.
of character.
And you know what, though? No excuses. This is part of the thing when you was given a list of all the guys who had failed relationships. A lot of guys don't understand sex. A lot of sex workers are really damaged. They're mentally and emotionally damaged. And they almost have to be to do the fucking work that they're doing. You can't just want to lay down with strangers willy-nilly all over the fucking world unless you somehow inside yourself emotionally didn't or kill yourself to accept that line of work. You are a damaged person. So how are you going to make that necessarily a wife? I'm not saying that you can't, but I'm saying you can't and still have. I wouldn't do it because I think there's a high probability of that shit ending exactly like it does.
It's something psychological that it's psychological damage on both sides. It's, obviously the women they're gonna have some psychological trauma from being prostitutes, and the men that are comfortable, with marrying them, that's it's some psychological things going on. I can't explain it or figure it out, but there's some psychological things because the one of the main reasons I couldn't wife a prostitute is that she's a hustler. It's just like a drug dealer. They only know one way of getting money. And I've been around a lot of people that did jail time, and when they get out, they still go back to the same hustle when money is tight. Every hustler goes back to the same hustle if money gets tight. And when you wife a prostitute, you are you're already under pressure marrying a regular woman because you're expected to provide, and most of the time if you're not making money, there's going to be trouble in the household. That pressure is tenfold with a prostitute because if you can't do what she can do on her own, she going to be like, I'm going to get it how I live. Joe Smith went through that with his wife. She started OnlyFans, and this nigga used to be an NBA player. So you put yourself under pressure to perform financially, and you can't enjoy a relationship when you have that level of pressure. And I don't know how you can sleep at night knowing that you have to, you have to still watch her every move. You still got to live with that doubt, that chance that she might change back. Like you put yourself through mental agony just for a piece of ass. And the reason why, and I'm gonna let Peso go, the reason why a lot of those situations don't work out, it don't be because of the woman. It don't be because of the woman. It be because of the man, and his insecurities get to the point where he can't handle the relationship no more. You know. So let me let Peso man get in. What up?
Yeah, what's up? Hawkers. Now, where do I start? Because y'all said a lot of stuff. First of all, Ozzy, all the haters, they want to hate on the peso man, but then when the peso man takes a hiatus, now everybody wants to say peso. If you really like peso, support the channel. Come over to Rumble and support the channel. Now, Buck, you always talking about peso too. Peso this, peso that, but you was one of my fiercest critics. Matter of fact, you're the one, and everybody doesn't even know about this. People want to call me ET and Sam Cassell and all that other bullshit. Actually, Buck is the one that started it. He started it on Fit channel. So shout out to Buck for coining the ET. My AKA ET alias and Sam Cassell and all that stuff. So Buck is the one that created that. So we got to give Buck his credit. Now, reference to these hawkers. I think a lot of times you guys, this passport community, y'all are on one extreme, and y'all go way over to the other extreme. Y'all are fear mongering, or y'all are selling dreams. First of all, if you marry a hooker, especially in a third world country, she's probably doing it because of economic situation. I don't know too many people that grow up saying I'm going to be a prostitute. Most women don't like laying down with strangers. They just don't. A lot of women are forced into this situation because of economic hardship. I've traveled around to too many countries to know and see these women. And we talking about, y'all want to talk about hookers, the ones that you see out on the streets, but you also got your what you labeled freelancers, the everyday girl next door, the girl that you might meet at the grocery store, the girl that you might meet at the mall. She might sell a little pussy on the side, depending on what country you going from. So women that sell vagina, they're human beings. First of all, they're human beings. So you don't know what kind of situation they were in to be able to sell their body. And for a woman to sell her body, she has to be in a real tight situation. Do you know the economies around these countries? Look at Venezuela. Look at Africa. Do you know, for example, if you are an attendant at a gas station, pumping gas, do you know how much they make an hour? 33 cent. 33 cent an hour. And a thing of bread will run you about $2 to $3. A thing of orange juice will run you $4. A chicken, a rotisserie chicken will run you anywhere between $7 and $10. And you're talking about somebody making 33 cent an hour. 33 cent an hour. So so you guys want to look down on these people that sell. I mean, what other commodity do they have out here? What other skill
So so
do
so
these people?
so what are you saying? Are you saying like it's okay to marry prostitutes?
Yeah, no. I'm saying it's okay to marry who you love. If she was a former prostitute and you like her, so be it. Let's just touch on this real quick. A lot of these guys that are so-called passport bros that go over and specifically date these prostitutes, these guys are sexual deviants. They're sexual deviants. They're porn lovers. Most definitely porn lovers. They like getting it in. They want to have that sexual, nasty, gritty, dirty fantasy. And let's be honest, most of us want it. Let's just keep it 100. We all watch a little bit of XXX. We all have hit that. We've all accidentally typed in Pornhub.com. We all have done it. So let's just don't get it twisted. Webcam girls, the webcam girls in Colombia. Let me tell you something. Let me just say this, and I'm gonna be quiet. If you ever, let me tell you something. Don't ever in your life ever accidentally run across that live webcam on one of these porn channels and hit Colombia. You're gonna get hooked. You're gonna be booking your ticket the very next night to get to them Colombian
Mm.
porkos.
Well, you know what the problem is, though. No excuses is, like Peso said, is correct, and I did say also, if that's who you gonna marry, fine, marry him, be quiet, go offline. The problem is the narrative that, again, the hypocrisy goes into what you said. You demonize Western women for doing the exact same thing, or actually doing far less, because I don't care how promiscuous a woman is in the States. She not getting 20 dicks a week. She's not. If there's a woman in America that you are aware of that's getting 200 dicks a year, that you're not going to convince me that that's most Western women. That is, I will not accept that. You know what I'm saying? We would call her a hoe if she got 2-3 different dicks a month. But
Yeah,
if we did a
but
conservative estimate, we're saying 20 dicks a week is a pro. And if you want to marry that, that's your business, if that's what her life was. But you shouldn't be promoting that as that's a normative thing that you should be going out there looking for.
Yeah,
And
but
you talk about what you're doing
it
for the countries because we know you're not.
hold on, Rico. I don't want to forget what I'm saying, but it's more good girls in these foreign countries, in my opinion. There's more good girls in Colombia than in the U.S. There's more good girls in Thailand. There's more good girls in most of these non-Western or non-liberal countries. There are more good girls. So it's not like you're going to countries where good girls are in a minority, because then that would defeat the purpose.
Right. But I
It would
would
defeat.
disagree.
No
I would
excuse.
disagree.
The thing with
False
these guys
narrative.
is
Running a
no
false.
excuse. The good girls.
Come on.
No excuse. The thing with that is like good girls. See, the good girls, they're not gonna mess with a tourist that's only there for a week, right? So like one of the first questions, like when you meet a good girl in these countries, one of the first questions they will ask you is, "Hey, so how long are you here for? And are you living here and all that?" That question is to weed out the guys who are serious or the guys who are not serious. Some guys will say, "Oh, I'm only here for 3 days." Yes, he will put them in the
Hey
back burner.
Rico.
But the,
Mhm.
the, the thing is,
Hey
like,
Rico.
good girls take time. Like, so a lot of guys going to these countries, they just want to do a 3 day weekend, smash and dash, and that's it. So it's like good girls take time. Sometimes you might need a year or two in these countries to find a good girl.
Or not to. Here's the
Hey,
deal. Here's the deal. Let me say this real quick, no excuses. This is where I would disagree with you on the number of good girls in the West compared to the number of good girls in these other countries. I think the problem is that for most of these guys in the West, I would readily admit that women are more empowered than they are. And it goes back to what Peso said, the economy and the position that women have in a lot of these countries. It's not saying that they have to be working girls, but because of what I've always said, in these countries, women are either highly unemployed, they're more unemployed or underemployed than the men are. When jobs go to these countries, they go to the men first. Women, they'll get the jobs, or either they'll be more underemployed. That's just the way it is. So in these countries, Colombia, Brazil, it can seem like it's more good girls because most of those girls, they don't have the same level of empowerment, which I realize when you run into that in a Western country, it seems more like a problem because, oh, she talked back, she got an attitude. Well, because she fucking can. She got a job.
Well,
You know what I'm
well,
saying?
when I say more good girls, I'm saying from a percentage basis is the U.S. is supposed to be, the good girls are in the minority. You know what I
I don't.
mean?
I just think it's. I will admit that women in the West are more demanding because they can be, and I agree that can
right.
be a pain in the ass. But I don't want to sit there and say that we got more hoes than other countries because that's not true.
No, I'm
That's
not.
part
I'm
of the
not.
Hey,
I'm
country.
not. I'm not. I'm not saying that. I'm saying good. I'm saying percentage wise, not quantity, but percentage wise. It's slim. It's slim pickings in the U.S. when it comes to marriageable women. Percentage wise.
I don't know. I don't know about that because you got to
Yeah,
define the definition of marriage. So
yeah,
so that in your opinion, in your perception is your perception. Your perception is going to be probably different than everybody else's perception on here. Or it might be you might have the same perception or maybe one person on here, but people's perceptions are different. So let me say this. This is the cheat code. This is the 100% cheat code to
Make
all this
make
whole path. Here's the cheat code. The cheat code is being able to empower women. That's the cheat code to being able to empower women. What I mean by being able to empower women is that, you know what, you become a real boss when you can walk into one of these countries or off hell, shit, even in the US, when you can provide people security, meaning that you can give somebody a job. When you can give somebody a job, that's how you become a real man. That's how
All
you
right.
become a real boss.
Hold that thought, because I don't want to get out this. I don't want to get too much out the scope of my issue today. Let me get traveling Tony in. What's good, bro?
Oh, what's good, bro? Is my connection all right? I'm outside.
You good?
Okay, okay. How everybody doing? What up, everybody? What up? What up? Oh, my connection might be going
You
crazy.
got it. You got it, bro. We can hear
Salute,
you.
salute. We can hear you,
Okay,
bro.
okay.
Loud and
Just
clear.
wanted to make sure. Yeah, man. But in regards to what Rico was saying earlier, no, there are a lot of hoes in America. There's hoes everywhere, right? But in America, there are girls similar to girls in Pattaya and Sasua, you know. But those girls never get married because they stay hoes forever. So I do agree with what you were saying, though, Rico. You was making some sense.
But you saying there are American women that's getting 200 bodies a year.
Oh, for sure.
That
Red
was
light districts like
conservative.
Baltimore Street, Baltimore
Absolutely.
Street.
200.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Even more than that.
No, I don't
New
believe that.
Orleans. If you go to New
Hey,
Orleans in the red light
hey,
We're,
district,
talking,
Rico,
we're not
hey,
talking about
Rico,
fuck
hey,
200
Rico,
times.
ask them how
I'm
do
talking
they
about
know? Ask them,
hear
how
me
do
out,
they
hear me
know?
out.
How do
I just want to say this. We're saying 200 random dicks a year.
for sure. For
I,
sure.
I don't believe that.
We can't compare prostitutes in one country to prostitutes in another country like
Right,
that. That's moot.
Yeah.
That's a
right.
moot point.
Yeah, if you're talking prostitutes, then yes. But then we're talking prostitute to
Yeah,
prostitute.
that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Prostitute.
but the
Yeah, like prostitute.
comparison that they're
Yeah.
making is prostitute to 304s. And when they talk about Western women, they're not talking about prostitutes. They're talking about Keisha and shit. Keisha ain't getting
Oh,
200
okay.
random dicks a year.
I got
Yeah,
what
Nope.
you're
but
saying. I got what you're
to
saying, man.
wait,
I
wait, wait,
misunderstood.
wait, wait. But to No Excuses point, he was trying to say there are better or more consistent good girls, normal good girls overseas versus the ones that are here in the United States.
And I
So what he's
partially
saying is the
agree and
regular
partially
woman
disagree.
in the United States is
Ronan,
sleeping
you
with
don't
more women, is sleeping with more men in the United States than the average woman overseas that's a good girl. She's not doing that.
Ronan,
I'm
you
agreed to that
Ronan,
too.
you don't know that. You don't know that because hell, you barely smashing
Morally,
yourself overseas.
listen,
So how?
listen,
So how they?
morally, more,
So how?
listen, morally and
One at
ethically
a time. One at a time. One at a time.
morally and ethically, there are better morally and ethically grown women overseas than there are here because you already know the United States and Western civilization morally and ethically have been corrupt for years.
Okay, he finished. Okay, now let me say this, Ronan. What you're saying is a bunch of BS. Number one, you could
Okay.
your argument couldn't hold up in a drizzle. So
Okay.
I don't even see why you even talking about that. You're mad at women. You have this
Mad at
manosphere
women.
rhetoric. Yeah, most definitely you're mad at women. I can tell you're mad at women.
Okay.
You're mad at American women. You have this
Mhm.
manosphere that you keep propagating all over YouTube. And hey, if that's what you want, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel, brother. I'm not here. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not here to convert you or anything. But what you're saying is nonsense. Now,
Tell me how it's nonsense. Tell me how it's nonsense.
women and bad
Tell
women
me
everywhere.
exactly. Tell me
Women,
exactly how
women,
it's nonsense.
women are
My
the
theory.
women
Don't
are the,
attack me. Don't
women
attack the person.
are the
Attack
no
the
no
theory.
women are the.
Attack the
Can I
theory.
finish my?
Attack the theory.
Okay, I'm gonna destroy your theory, but hold on.
Okay.
Let me make a point. Women are the same all over the world. The only thing
No, they're
that
not.
really changes this behavior is the environment. The environment. That's the only thing. The environment. There's variables that change how women act. Women are survivors. They carry
I
they
agree.
carry X amount of eggs, and they're trying to protect their damn eggs. So they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do. And it really hurts me that you Negroes will sit on these panels and talk about these oracles when these girls have kids. You the same Negroes. You the same Negroes, especially you military Negroes. Y'all the same Negroes that go over to these countries and get these women pregnant and then leave the country. Now these women, especially in these foreign countries, we don't want to talk about like Japan. Y'all praise Japan, but back in the day, during the wars, a lot of GIs were leaving those kids over there. And those kids were getting ostracized, they were getting picked on, they were getting bullied. They were finding dead um um Blasians. They were finding dead
Be be be
Blasians.
be, be be careful with the language. Go ahead.
Bla-
Delete it.
Um okay, they were finding deceased. How about that? Deceased infants. Because the mother was too ashamed. She was ashamed because she was a whore, or she was hanging out with a guy that was selling her passport dreams of bringing her back, green card dreams. Let's just see, that's the thing, is that there's nothing wrong with having your opinion, but let's keep it 100. And that's what we do. We keep it 100. Me and
So
Rico, we keep it
so
100.
so to everybody's point is there's no reason to complain. Certain guys shouldn't be complaining about American women because they're the complete, they're synonymous with the women that they're complaining about. Their actions
Absolutely.
mimic the
Absolutely.
women they're complaining about.
Absolutely, because those are the women that they go overseas and they seek out and they sit there, and as you said earlier, that they're making wives. They marry them. They're not just happy fucking them. They're married. They won't marry the Keisha here, but they will go and marry the pros, like you said. No excuses.
And they stole, a lot of them stole Kevin Samuel's talking points, fit, feminine, and friendly. And Kevin Samuels wasn't promoting marrying prostitutes. He wasn't promoting that. So, a lot of people used his talking points and was hypocritical to even the things that he was preaching. And I've been a big advocate of Kevin Samuels, but a lot of guys used his talking points, but really haven't lived up to it.
But they use this talking point so they can bang on black women. But like you said, they didn't use the other half of it. They just used that one half. They didn't use the half about getting in the gym, getting your money up, none of that. Because you look at the quality of the passport bros that you see repeatedly going overseas, and then you look at what they're doing. He told them go to the mayor's ball and shit like that. So they can miss me with the Kevin Samuels shit because they're not living up to it in any way. They
See,
just said banging on black women.
Hold on real quick. My biggest one of the psychology of the situation is fucked up because a lot of men, a lot of us complain about broken families. We always say a strong family builds a strong community, builds a strong nation. And so the psychology of marrying a woman that's psychologically fucked up, because any prostitute, she has psychological damage. And then if you introduce children in that toxic poison psychological situation, you're perpetuating a society of damaged people. You know what I mean? What you pass from your blood, you pass something from your DNA to your child, whether you know it or not. And so it's not the societies that that are being created by people. Everybody needs love, to what Peso Man was saying, but just because how should I say this? You can do an action and think is right, or you could do an action and know it's wrong, but you're gonna do it anyway. You know what I mean? So the guys that know it's wrong and gonna do it anyway, you know what I mean, so be it. But the guys that think is right and doing it, that's a way bigger issue. Go ahead, whoever wanted to speak
No, I
next.
was going to say it's Eurocentric standards of living. That's the issue. The same could be said about Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It's very liberal. Sex is propagated, it's pedestalized, just like in America. You see men kissing in the corner in Rio, just walking around. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So that makes the society more promiscuous. Sex is more free. It's not about family building. It's just about engaging in intercourse. The same in America. That's what's being propagated. That's what's being pedestalized. Neutering of children. A bunch of demonic Western European shit. You get what I'm saying?
No, you're right. You're right. You know, what I mean, you need to go in more, man. I mean, look at this is what some of the Arabs do in like Dubai and the Middle East. They marry. Listen to this. They they facilitate prostitution in their countries, right? And they import a lot of women from Eastern Europe, Africa, Asia, etc. These Arab men, they marry virgins. They cheat on their wives with prostitutes, but you'll never see them doing the reverse.
Hey,
You'll never see
hey,
them doing the reverse.
hey, you know what? No excuse. That's interesting that you bring up these Arabs. It's quite funny that how people put other people's so-called moral integrity on a pedestal. These same Arabs, they marry their second cousins. They some of the most nastiest people you ever want to meet.
Well, I
Marry
don't know too much
marry your
about
damn.
that.
They do. They
Well,
do
after
do a
this
lot of
show,
interfamily marriage.
go do your research. Go
Yeah,
do your
they do.
research. Go do your research.
They
They
do.
married a second cousin. They some of the nastiest. These are the same guys that are bring over import all these women, all these hookers, and then slut them out, shit on them, do some of the most vile things to them, and then go marry their second cousin. So these family values. This is the thing
You know
is
what? You
that
know what's
if you want to
also funny about
have
that though? Hold on, Peso. You know what's also funny about that? A couple of weeks ago, all these passport bros was losing their shit and beating their dick off about that little white German chick, Turkish German chick that said the shit she said about black women. Remember that? Just to bring that in for a moment. But the whole point is when she talked about the great Turkish value, she left out the fact, like I said, a third of the Turkish fucking brides are children. They're children. So oftentimes because I get it, a lot of Black Americans, we don't know much about cultures outside our own. So they romanticize other cultures. But just
Hold up. You
research,
bringing up some facts that used to be in America. That
which is
consistently
true.
was in
I
America.
agree. Absolutely.
We changed our
1,000%.
laws. They have
Right.
not. We have changed our laws.
Exactly. And I agree with you 1,000%. That used to be the exact same thing that happened to America. But as a country, we evolved. They still do it. So what I'm saying is, how are we going to say that our morals are so fucked up when we still look at some of the morals that in the Middle East, in Turkey, and a lot of other countries that still exist? They have yet to evolve, and I think a lot of them will.
So every society got some things effed up about. So you're saying that the morals and society norms
I'm just
is
saying
is,
no
is no
romantic.
better.
I'm saying we can't just look at all the positive as if they have no negatives. When we look at the West, we point out all the negatives as if we have no positives. I think every society has good and bad. You could say that maybe ours is worse, but it's not night and day simply because I hear people argue that because women have rights, all of a sudden we're gone to shit. And I'm like, a lot of these countries, as you know yourself, Brazil is getting more and more flooded with that shit's going over there anyway. So you can't even run away from it. You can't.
I'm gonna
Feminism
try.
is spreading.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, you can try. I mean, look. If that's what you want to do, God bless you. But don't be surprised if you wake up one day and all of a sudden it's every fucking where. Then what do you do?
Well, even in the Middle East, the Muslims, the Quran doesn't. They have guidelines on who you can and
Them
who you
niggas
can't
ain't
marry.
going to the Middle East. Can we keep it the way
No,
they
no,
go?
no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying about the moral thing. Like they're not supposed to. If they marrying they're not supposed to be marrying sisters, second cut. There's
They do.
rules to who they can marry. Not saying, but
no
they're
go
doing it
look at
knowing
go
that
look
it's not right. They're not
no
doing it out
go
of
no
ignorance.
no go look it up. No excuses before you start. That's the thing about black people. We always want to talk about stuff we don't accurately know. Go before you start making those statements. Please go do the research. Okay. Please go do the
Yeah,
research.
but my point of bringing up Middle Eastern is that they marry the virgins, and they only have sex with the prostitutes.
And you may be you may
That's not women
no
from their
excuse.
country.
No, excuse, you may be right. Maybe they do marry the virgin. But what Peso is pointing out, that virgin may be related to them. She also may
Yeah,
be very young. So
yeah, but you're
like
changing
New York.
you're changing the argument once you say that. Like you're changing the premise of the argument.
No, I'm agreeing with you.
What's
They choose to
what's the
marry
premise of
a
the argument?
virgin. That virgin may be one or two cousins apart, and oftentimes
No,
there's a
not first cousin.
substantial
First
age
cousin.
gap. We just can't
First cousin.
overlook that. It did used to happen here in America, but it's still happening there. We just can't overlook that if we're going to romanticize these places. I'm saying look at it in its totality.
Rico,
We
first,
preach we preach we try to well we have been trying. When I say we have been trying to say that the way it was done in the old days is better than the present. So legacy has always been important in history. A man's last name, a family name. He doesn't want his daughter or his son to sully his name. So name was important. And when men and the reason why there were stronger families then, it was because families married within their same class. You rarely seen, unless you've seen in these fairy tales like Cinderella, you rarely seen a man from the monarchy go down and find a peasant. They usually marry within the same class. You know what I mean? So once we start breaking out of, rich people marrying poor people, I don't like the term unequally yoked, but you marry somebody, you're a good girl or you're a good man, and you go marry a pookie or a prostitute. We are going against historical norms where people really typically dated within their same class, socioeconomic structure. Now the passport bro movement, we feel like we have to deviate from our countries where women are on our same level from an economic, cultural basis. But so we are going against historical norms as far as dating within your class. That is why, what I mean, and myself included, is that a lot of situations are not working as thought of by dating women that are out of our class or comparable class. You know what I mean? So the top 10% woman in her country is comparable to the top 10% of men in our country. Even though the currency exchange is different, if she's the top 10, she's still comparable respectfully. But we're not going for the same levels, and I'm seeing problems with that. You know what I mean? So, we have to have a conversation to say, you know what, is it better? Are guys going to have better outcomes by seeking women coming from a comparable class, and, women that, have, women that are good girls? Because, guys are marrying women overseas with with kids, multiple kids. But, we will shit on women with kids in the US. Guys are marrying prostitutes, and they're contributing to they're contributing more to the societal problem than solving it. That's my issue. You know what I mean? We're not adding value to society.
But that's
Um,
because people are not assimilating to the society. They're going after the dregs of the society.
mm,
They're going after the societal outcasts. Those are the prostitutes. Now, if you assimilate to the society, you go into church or temples or whatever, and you start getting around those type of people, then even if she doesn't have money, her family might be decent. You know what I'm
Tony,
saying?
them niggas don't go to church here. If they don't go
But
to
I'm
church in
saying
the US, they're not
it,
going to church overseas.
it's on both sides. It's not just the women in the West. The men in the West also
Are fucked
have
up.
it's
Okay.
unrealistic standards because we're
Okay.
sold a Disney Pixar dream.
But
You know
that
what I'm
goes to
saying?
what No Excuses. Now, No Excuse, you made a great point earlier. How they make the complaint about an average woman wanting a high value man, but they go over there and the average dude want a high value prostitute. It's crazy. But that was a great point you made. That was a great fucking point you made. We know what some of these dudes look like. 300-400 pounds, talking about fit, feminine. Like, are you fucking serious? Nigga, we
Rico,
see.
Yeah.
Rico, most of these guys are hypocrites. Most people in general are hypocrites. And let me just say this. Most of these guys that are going over, they're not going over for wives. So let's just cut that out. All right. Let's just X that out. They're not going over there for wives. And if you are going over there for a wife, you know, people think that going overseas and finding a woman is so easy. It's not easy. You're gonna run all the problems you're running away from in your own country. You're gonna start running into probably even more problems when you get to these other countries because it's not easy living in these other countries. You got morals, you got ethics, you got culture, you got the way people do business. Especially if you're talking about going to Africa, there's a lot of dummies here. It's a lot of dummies here, so it's going to be difficult to do business. The women here and all the women here aren't great in Africa. You got Keishas, you got 304s, you got good girls, you got silly girls. I mean, the language, and you talking about going over to these languages where you don't speak the language. You 30 something years old and you have never spoken another foreign language. That's an issue. So telling these guys, even if these guys have the money and they're able to go over to these countries and live there for an extended period of time, they're gonna run into a lot of more issues than they would. That's
Do
not
do you
even
do, do you know
that
any
they.
foreign do you know any foreign languages, Peso?
No, I don't know any foreign language. That's why when I go to countries, I go to all English speaking countries. And you know what? When I go to these English speaking countries, I still have problems. These people don't understand my accent. They mix up the words. I say a word that don't mean the same thing it means in another country. You still, even when you go to a English speaking country, you still gonna have a translation issue. I'm pretty sure your boy Tony. I mean, hell, you ought to know. You ought to know. You've been in a lot of these African countries. When you start talking to them, what do they say? Huh? Huh?
Yeah.
What you say? Huh?
But you're trading issues though. So if you're more comfortable with dealing with a slight language barrier than let's say dealing with, I don't know, people in New York City, that's a big increase. Okay, fuck it. I'll take the language barrier. I don't want to deal with, angry, mean people all day.
I mean, the
You
this is the really, and I'm generally speaking, but this is the real reason, and I'm including myself. This is the core reason why overseas is more attractive. This applies to most guys, because guys, for the most part, if I really wanted to find a wife or chick in the U.S., I could, but she's not going to be as attractive or as young as I may want her. She might be more or less plus or minus 10. I ain't gonna say plus, but minus 10 years. That's probably the limit most American chicks may, on average, may go up to 10-year age difference. And she's not gonna be a chick that's gonna get me hard, that I'm gonna just be hard for every night. You know what I mean? And
what?
so
Why is that? You break that down to us. Why is it?
why which
Yeah,
part?
you lost me
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
too. Can you rewind that?
Why?
Run that
Why
back.
is
I'm saying I'm
the
saying
reason
I'll
why?
repeat.
You,
You
yeah, go
going you
ahead.
going
Repeat.
in and out, Peso. Let me repeat. So
Oh,
in general, most men are able to get a slightly younger or slightly more attractive woman or comparable woman overseas it in the US. You know what I mean? So if your best in the US is like a six, right? That checks most of the boxes, but she looks a six. Overseas, you can probably get a seven that checks all the boxes. You know what I mean? So you can slightly upgrade on looks and age. You know what I mean? Which for a lot of men, it's more sexually stimulating to do that. And so this
So
is this is. Go
to the
ahead.
se- so it's going back to the sexual component. All you guys care about is the sex. At the
Right.
end of
So
the day,
that's
you're not looking for no wife.
but you know what
That
that
goes
speaks
back
to,
to what I'm
Pastor?
saying with the porn
That's
and the
No, no,
webcams
no,
and
no,
all that
no,
other
no, no,
stuff.
no, no, no. Hold on. You want to attract. You do want
So,
an attractive wife. You do want an
you
attractive
want
wife.
to you
I've
trying to
been
get
a.
but they're not getting married
yeah,
though.
yeah, but you looking for
They're not looking for wife.
damn near Miss America, Miss Columbia. You
No.
know, every and let me say this.
Shit.
Let me say this. Everybody can't drive a Mercedes Benz. Everybody can't drive an Aston Martin. Everybody's not going to have a Bentley. You know, only certain people are going to have a private jet. So these women, how attractive these women are, that's the fruits of your labor a lot of times. So in the US, you're not gonna get an 8 or 9 or 10 if your bread ain't right, or if your mouthpiece ain't right, or you don't look a certain way. You're not gonna get those. You're not gonna. Let me tell you something. The guys are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. They can get them. Oh, Hugh Hefner was 80 some years old. He was getting baddies because his paper was right. His
And
swag
I'm
was right.
that's what makes them.
He
That's
had
what
the
I'm
Well,
looking
you still no. You should. I said. Hold on, Rico. I
at.
said check other boxes, not just being attractive. Because yeah, I could pull a. I live. I lived in Houston, so I was pulling sevens and eights easily. But the software wasn't there. You know what I mean? So and then the age component. So what I was able to get, let's say in these countries is for example, if
in the eight
if I'm
um
if if
in
I'm
the eight
40, hold on. If let's say if I'm 40 years old, I could probably comfortably get a woman in the U.S. you know age 30, at the youngest age 30, and she could be a six, maybe a seven on her wedding day. Now
But
overseas, I can go down to probably age 25, and she might be a guaranteed seven or eight.
but
You know
no
what I mean?
excuse.
So
Let me ask you a question. Why now this is what I want to understand. A 45-year-old man growing up in America, right? Now we know generally 99% of 45-year-olds are not dating 25-year-olds in the US, right? We know we date within a 10-year age difference, right? So if you're 45, you're lucky if you get to date a 35-year-old. You're probably dating women probably 40, because even women at 35 writ large, unless you got and I'm talking about the average guy that's not rich, that's not an entertainer. So a 45-year-old, so if I'm in America and my entire life and culture, I have been dating women that are 35 to 40 years of age. Why all of a sudden, when I go to Colombia or Brazil, my mental switches and I have to have a 25-year-old? That's what I'm not understanding. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, like, the argument is, oh, well, I can get that, but you never had to have it. So why all of a sudden is it an insatiable need? That's what I'm trying to because now I'm trying to think about the culture of the men that travel. What is it about the
Rico, it
passport rules that make them say, I have to have this?
let me. I got a new person on the panel. I think Rona, you could go. You could go next after GMT travels. What up? What up? What up, GMT?
What's up? What's up? What's going on, player?
And then I see a Ulysses. I don't think you got in yet. So after GMT, Ulysses, you can speak, and then Ronan. Go ahead, bro.
All right. So, what y'all talking about? Getting better options overseas. I didn't hear everything y'all was talking about. Can you fill me in?
Real quick. So the stream I pretty much was ranting about, guys marrying prostitutes, marrying prostitutes, and how there's some. I feel like it's some psychological things that's going on both parties, and it's not really good for society and nation building. And it's contradictory to what guys complain about in the U.S. Guys complain about the good girls going after the pookies and the low hanging fruit in the U.S. But then on the other hand, the good guys are going for the, I ain't gonna say all, but some good guys they're marrying the equivalent to a pookie overseas. So what I mean. So I'm talking about that I started off talking about that contradictory, and then now I've just kind of mentioned that guys know overseas that can get a slightly more attractive and a slightly more younger woman that checks most of the boxes than they could in the U.S. So that's where we at.
Oh yeah, man, I definitely agree with that because I mean in the US right now, I still get like I'm 40. I get like 30, 35 to mid 40 chicks hitting on me in the US easy. Like they hit on me all the time. But when I'm overseas, shit, my chicks gonna be either in their like from mid 20s to early 30s. And they look way better too, you know what I'm saying? So we just have more options. And I guess a lot of dudes, we're just going to exercise our rights. You know what I'm saying? Because you overseas, if you have better options, you're going to go for it. In the U.S., we have less options, so we got to do what we have to do. If I was in the U.S., I'd have to get an older chick right now. If I wasn't traveling, I probably would have had to get an older chick. But now that I'm overseas, I can get whatever I want. And to your
Because
the first topic,
your paper ain't
huh?
right.
Hold on, let him
Your
finish. Let him
paper ain't
finish. Go
right.
ahead. Let him finish. One person at a
on,
time.
on, and then on the first topic you was talking about the prostitutes. I don't like it, but at the same time I can see how certain kind of dudes can fall in love with a prostitute overseas because he's getting what he wants out the deal. Some dudes are just not used to chicks like catering to him, so I can see how a dude that never been anywhere can fall in love with a prostitute overseas. It's kind of messed up, but I can see it happening though
But
because I
but
mean a lot
but
of
but
dudes.
but but should that relationship be public though? That should that relationship be public?
You know what? I feel what you're saying. I would say no, but at the same time, when the dude falls in love with a prostitute, he doesn't see her as a prostitute anymore. Because I've caught dudes in groups like telling on other dudes when they fall in love with prostitutes. So I see it all the time. So I notice when dudes fall in love with prostitutes, in their mind, she's not a prostitute anymore. So regular rules apply. They're not thinking about hiding her because in their mind, she's not a prostitute because they fell in love with her. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the psychology and to me that's some psychological things going on. Let me get Ulysses in real quick.
Yeah, I agree with what everybody's saying. You know what? I was at the casino yesterday over here in Santiago DR, and I was next to this girl. I could tell she was a chaparrita, like a gold digger, right? And in her purse, she started busting out like the $100 singles. And I was thinking to myself, like, damn, some American is giving her money, and she's using this money on gambling and shit. But that's what's going on over here. You got a lot of guys that are spending money on these women, and the women are using the money on their boyfriends or on dumb shit. And that's what you're seeing over here. I saw that yesterday. I was like shocked. I was like, damn, this girl's getting money from this American. I know she is. But that's what happens over here in these third world countries.
Yeah, it's hold on real quick. Let me read this super chat real quick. Salute Backpack Val for the $10 super chat. He said niggas are important pros now more than ever. The rate that is going is alarming. See, I don't want to. I want to be careful with my words on YouTube, but I knew guys that was basically in the pimp game, and prostitute pimps were the only dudes I I used to see prostitutes with, and pimps. I knew there were pimps that found ways to get girls to come to the U.S. so they could make money. You know what I mean? Not condoning that, not saying that was acceptable, but pimps looked at prostitutes as nothing else but you know income. Now there's guys that's doing indirect pimping. You know what I mean? So, like I said, you know what I mean? No, I can't. I'm not gonna hate on the game. You know what I mean? Like some people, some people are doing it for strategic reasons, for money and things like that. My thing is, again, is that we complain about the issues and the matrix, and the biggest, the foundation, the primary issue in the matrix. We talked about family. You know, a lot of guys talk about family court. All that stuff is centered around the family being broken. So the biggest issue we have is broken families, no fathers in the home, or people not being raised with certain morals and values. But we are contributing to the problem. We are still contributing to the problem that we are running from or complaining about. If nobody never, if this movement started with nobody complaining, people was just traveling, doing what they do, it really wouldn't be no point of calling people hypocrites or calling out anything. You know what I mean? But the movement started via complaining about society, women in the US, and a lot of guys made these women right. And I hate to say some of these quote unquote hyenas was right. But when they said that you guys are gonna go overseas and fuck up the culture over there, y'all gonna, you know, they were saying y'all could have them because they're gonna do y'all just like they do us. And y'all making these women look right and right every day. So Nagmeezy is in the building. I don't think he had a chance to speak yet, so I'm gonna let you go, Nagmeezy. If
Hey,
you might be
salute,
muted.
salute.
Oh,
Yeah,
salute.
I'm having black man problems. Fried chicken grease popping all over the kitchen right now.
You good? You good?
All right. So yeah, yo, it's a sad day in the travel space, and we talking about men wifing up prostitutes. Like that's crazy. The only reason why these men go overseas and say that it's better, and when you use the age thing and the boxes, there are no other boxes that you can check besides the fact that she's younger and it's more attractive box. They have no credit. They can't add anything to the relationship. Half the time, y'all can't even communicate with them. You know what I'm saying? They can't do your taxes. They probably can't raise the child because they're probably thinking like a child themselves. I just think this whole going across overseas to specifically to find a wife in a place where you don't understand the culture is just a cop out because American women have money and don't have to deal with your nonsense.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get religious, but the Bible said if you must get married, you know what I mean. So the act the act is honorable, right? The act of marriage is an honorable thing to do. You know what I mean?
Hey,
Go ahead.
this is
Wait, but
this is the
so
deal.
here's the thing. Could you tell me the other boxes? Because when you mentioned the boxes, you only mentioned young, someone that could keep your meat hard at night, pause, and yeah, that was pretty much it. So what are the
So
other boxes
so
that you
so
can
so
check with a
so
foreign
so
woman?
so so I said that guys want an attractive younger woman that checks the boxes that they're looking for. So let's say some of them boxes may be in the U.S. I could get an attractive woman in the U.S., but she don't know how to cook. She has attitude problems. There's a power struggle. There's a power struggle in a relationship. You know what I mean? So um, so there's a lot of things that, if we have a child together, I'm not, I mean, she's pushing back against me being an authoritarian figure. So there's so many unchecked boxes with women in the United States when it comes to physiological needs, right? So,
Wait,
but
pause. Let's
overseas,
do what you just said, brother. So name me the country where the women don't have the same issues you just mentioned.
There, I would say, okay, Colombia. All right, Colombia, right? There's more women. There's more women that just know how to cook, bro, and
Um,
clean good.
there's plenty of black women in America that know how to cook, or just American women
Per
that
percentage,
know.
percentage wise is less, and is has decreased
All right,
percentage wise.
can I get your stats? Can I get your source?
No,
He
but
doesn't have.
you don't need stats
It's
on the
anecdotal. Anecdotal.
environment that you're familiar with, like because then now you're being disingenuous.
No, I'm not. What I'm
No,
saying
you've
is
been.
y'all pull these fake stats as if you never had a black woman cook for you. Like,
No, nothing is absolute. I didn't say no black woman cook. I've met lots of black women that cook, but when we talk about this younger generation, you got to understand a lot of these countries in Latin America and Africa, they're in their 19 they're in our version of their 1970s and 1980s where women still have certain skills. They're not at where we at uh the US right now. So it's disingenuous to try to imply that all these third or second world countries are in modern times. No, they're not.
But no
no, but
excuses.
they
Do
are
not.
though. Hold on, Uncle
Go ahead,
Rico.
go ahead.
But they
Okay.
are. When you try to dumb down third world countries and put them as if they're some sort of like they have some sort of arrested development, that's crazy. You look at Nigeria, some African countries. There's a lot of feminism going on out there. The internet has spread feminism all throughout the whole world. Now, everything that you said, you can find in America. So the thing is, the caveat here is the age difference. Brothers are going over there looking for a young, impressionable woman that's financially hooked or not responsible, but shit. I'm messing up my languages right now. She's dependent on a man for his money. That's the only draw for a young woman out of the country to get with an older man. Y'all have
It's the
nothing in
same
common
thing
with.
here. Women
Hey,
are
but hold
still
on, hold on.
good.
But y'all have nothing in common with these younger girls. So they take your money and they spend it on a young dude that they want to smash, and then they cook you some ceviche, and then you go to sleep, and then they sneak out the door and get smashed by Pablo. This is a fact.
Yeah,
Maybe in
but you
Colombia, but
That's
not
straight up.
not in Africa, because I can tell you in Kenya, it's normal for like the white boys to take care of women, and they a home girlfriend. That's normal. That's normal, and they have to. They don't want to work. If a dude takes care of them, I'm saying maybe in Latin America they'll sneak out, but in some countries, if you take care of a chick, she's happy. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what they want. That's what they prefer. That's really the culture. That's what the locals do too. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it just
It's
depends how you look at it.
financial. It's financial.
Spending money.
but
Going
not
That's
back to
but
you.
but,
spending
You
but
money.
just
hold on, hold on,
inherited
hold
an
on, hold on. I
asset.
gotta I gotta
You
push back
inherited an
on
asset.
I gotta push back on Nagmeezy. Now, first of all, most of these countries don't have a welfare system, so they are not where we're at from the U.S. level. Women are still women are still learning domestic duties from their parents. They're still learning how to cook and clean from their parents. In America, that practice has dwindled. That
But no
practice has
excuses.
dwindled.
No
So,
excuses.
Says what?
so
Says who? But
Let me
prove
just
that
add. Let me
because
just
that's a
add this.
lie.
But let me
no,
add this one point about the cooking thing. And I think this is where you guys get lost. You make it a gender issue when it's more of a societal issue. America in 2024, we are built by convenience and affordability. We can afford a lot of takeout, fast food. That's a normative thing in America. So even if I agree with you that women are decreasing the cooking because we replace it with fast food, Uber Eats, things of that nature. In a lot of these countries, those women don't have that affordability. So let's face it, they don't have the choice but to cook. So
exactly, and
Hey, hey, hey!
therefore they
Let's
have the skill, and
right,
therefore they have the skill.
But what I'm
What's
saying is,
going on, fellas? Let
I
me
can
jump in here
agree
real
with
quick.
you, no excuses, but I'm
Let
just
me make
saying.
my final point on this.
Go
Let me make
ahead.
my
Go ahead,
final
Gan.
point
Go
on
ahead,
this.
Gan. Go ahead.
What's going on, fellas? Let me jump in here real quick.
Yo, let me make my final point on this. Look, if you can't get a chick to cook for you, then you're slacking on your macking. Period.
Hold on. It's too many.
Not
Gans,
easy. Don't go nowhere.
I'm right
go,
here.
Gans. Go, Gans. Go ahead.
Give me 1 second. I'm trying to fix my phone. Nakneezy, don't go nowhere.
We can hear you, nigga. If you ain't ready, I gotta pass the mic. Pause. All right, go, Nagmeezy. Make your. You can make your point. What you was gonna make.
Well, yeah. So what I was just saying is that if you can't get a woman in America to cook for you, then you're slacking on your macking. Fast food is worldwide, so people in general,
Nat, not respectfully, the point that you making, it doesn't go for these younger women. You're talking about women in our age group. Yes, those type of women, 40, 50 years old, they know how to cook. These women in their 20s and their 30s, they don't know how to cook, and they're not trying to learn how to cook.
Exactly.
If you remember what Kevin Samuels had the girl on the platform, she said, I don't need a cookbook because they don't want to cook.
You're not there for the cooking. You there for the hookers. So you don't want. You don't care about.
They want
let them finish, because a person can't make a point when you change the subject. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that age group, 20, early 30s, they not trying to cook. They don't want to know how to cook. You know what I'm saying? They gonna order that fast food. They gonna order that Uber Eats like Rico said. You know what I'm saying? And they not getting in that kitchen. They not cleaning. They not doing none of that shit. So honestly, what the hell I need you for?
Exactly.
So are you dealing with 20-something-year-old chicks?
I was.
Gangster,
You said, am I dealing with 20-something? No, I'm not. That's why I said that's why I said
I shouldn't be dealing with no little teeny boppers. If you're dealing with
that's why I said
that don't know how to wipe her ass yet, then something's wrong with you.
That's why I said our age group. They know how to cook and clean and all of that stuff because they were brought up the proper way. This new generation of women, they not doing it.
But Gaines, here's the problem with what you're saying. Like you said, when you talk about our age group, Nat himself is currently cooking now. Women and men were taught how to cook.
Right.
I was taught how to cook. So what I'm saying is, when they're making the argument that women don't know how to cook, these niggas don't know how to cook either. And they should know.
I can't say that.
Generation needs to be thrown in the fucking trash because it's all built around Uber Eats.
Hey Rico, I can only speak for myself. My son, he's 25 years old. I got him out there. I taught him how to fry that fish. I taught him how to grill. I taught him, but that's because a lot of these men, Rico, they don't have their fathers in their life.
Yeah, I taught my kids how to cook. Nigga, you gonna cook or starve?
No, because we grew up in an era. My great grandma. No man was allowed in the kitchen. You go to Africa. Like you go to a lot of these countries. Men aren't allowed in the kitchen. The women do the cooking, the cleaning.
Right. Men wasn't allowed in the kitchen. But during the summertime, the women wasn't allowed outside on that grill. Nowadays, how many women you see outside grilling?
But no excuse.
A whole lot of them.
Yourself, are you niggas literally telling me y'all literally are eating out all the time?
No, I was raised. I was raised to have to learn how to cook. I have the skill.
Right. So what I'm saying is, when we talk about this, as Nak said, I think most of these women can cook. I just think the younger generation, and I'm in the West, is driven around convenience. It's about
you're proving my point that the United States is 10 to 20 years ahead of most of these other countries. So you can't say the women are the same because we are in modern times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We are in modern times. That's why these other countries are quote unquote second world, third world countries.
But my question is this: if what you're saying is that you grew up, the 20-year-olds grew up in a generation where women never cook, how all of a sudden something you've never experienced is such an important fucking box to check? Nigga, you ain't never had nobody cooking for you. So why are you going to Brazil or Colombia looking for somebody that can cook?
No, you entitled. There's a fine line on.
No. What I'm
There's
saying
a
is you never had it. So
no, but
how do
I
you
get what you're saying. But there's a fine line between dick policing and trying to, and trying to encourage men to and try to be on code as men. You know what I mean? What we supposed to try to do as men, like women do, we supposed to have some type of general code. We don't all have to agree on everything, see everything. We should have some general code. We don't have a general code amongst men. You know what I mean? We divided on paying for pussy. We divided on, wifing, wifing certain chicks. Like we don't have any code amongst ourselves where at least the majority of men share a certain code. We divided on everything.
And we can't even unite as
We
black
who though?
people.
We who?
Yeah.
We
We
as
who are
men,
divided.
men in general, we divided on a lot of issues. We divided.
I mean, that's human nature, though. There's no set of humans that are here to the same code.
Women are on more code are on code with more things than men are. Are the collective?
You get a lot of women that speak down on the passport bros. You get a lot of women that speak up on the passport bros.
Mm-hmm.
You got feminist women. You have traditional minded women. So people in general are not a monolith. So when you say we as men, are you speaking about us as black men or just men around the world have no code?
Well, I can only speak about the men that I'm familiar with men in our community versus women versus black women in our community. Like we can't be disingenuous. Most guys in this chat can say, put a 1 in the chat if y'all feel like black women are more on code with each other than black men. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree black women are more on code with each other. Put a 2 on the chat if y'all disagree. Because you can't. You have to be able to generally speak. You have to be able to be generally speaking.
Yeah, but
if everything has to be
no code because society is not codified. Society is made up of a whole bunch of different cultures, needs, wants, interests. So what interests me as someone from Brooklyn doesn't interest someone from the Bronx or from the South to the Midwest. We have different interests as men and people. So there is no code, especially when we're talking about women and paying for this and doing all of that stuff. Got a lot of dudes that's against it, some dudes that's for it. There's no code. There is no code.
Women have created a code that these niggas gotta pay if they want to smack. I'm talking on the United States. These women have conditioned women to be on code as far as setting certain financial expectations on a man. Women are on code when if your boyfriend or your husband try to shoot his shot at me, I'm gonna tell on him. You know what I mean? So women are on code more with guys doing conniving things. Men on the other hand, they're not going to go back. They're not going to necessarily go back to they woman and say, oh, you know what, your friend tried to talk to me, your friend tried to have sex with me.
Men do that all the time, brother. You generalize and you
men
just
do not be
ignore.
snitching like that, man. Okay.
Wait, but hold on. How many chicks have smashed their best friend's man? Thousands. Now, when men think about doing that, they understand that there is a high level threat of violence for doing that because we'll start busting them guns. Females will start scratching faces. So your first point is moot.
No, it's not. Women are more likely to snitch, even if they're the ones that are the culprit of the backstabbing. They'll tell on themselves more than often than a man even would.
Brother, I don't know what kind of point you be making, brother. I fucks with you, but you just be generalizing and making stuff that don't make any sense at all.
Let me
But
ask you,
it's making sense to a lot of people in the chat.
But
no, but a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people in
Can
the
I
chat
say this
agree
real
with
quick, Nick? Can I say
Go
this
ahead,
real quick, please?
Go ahead, bro.
So let me say this, and I don't like throwing blame on anybody, but at the same time, sometimes men can make bad choices based on their desperation, based on the fact the woman looks a certain way, and they're trying to get their rocks off. And then they compound that problem by continuing to go back, even though they know that woman might be a bad morals and ethics. Now, a woman, you can't blame her for selling a dream. She's going to sell the dream of the fantasy of you being with her. She's desirable to you. She knows that. She's going to play on that. That's a woman's nature, to play on the things that she knows are her strengths to get the things she wants to get. You know what I'm saying? So you have to look at all those things. It's not just on the woman. The man's the one supposed to have the discernment to know whether that woman's good or not. And I'll rest with that.
You know what's funny? A lot of guys will cape. A lot of guys, and you see this with the dating coaches too, right? A lot of guys will cape for American women, but have no receipts. No receipts.
What receipts?
Peso a cape for American woman.
I'll cape for him.
You
cape for
our
own women. Absolutely.
Yes.
But there's no receipt.
Any foreign dirty foot up against black American women will run circles around them. In education, in earning potential, in being able to build a team to get something, in child rearing, all of that shit. Like, come on, give me your country. And then I'll ask you to speak the language of that country and how you can build something with that woman. And you
let me. All right, hold on.
But you don't live here.
Hold on one second. Hold on. Let me. Hold on.
Who said that?
Hold on.
Dan said it. You don't live in America, Nat.
Hold on. I don't want to mute mics. I don't want to have to mute mics.
I got houses I got a house in America, a house in the Caribbean, and a house in Europe. Get your money up, my nigga. Go on there, no excuses.
What? Give me three examples of people on YouTube, on guys on black men on YouTube that appear to have flourishing, healthy relationships with black women on YouTube.
How about this? How about I call out?
No, I asked you a question, bro. No. You don't answer a question with a question.
No. I'm gonna because it's a loaded question, brother. I
can name one off the top of my head.
Hold on, Rico. Hold on. You was on here before me, brother. Let me cook. You see, it's a loaded question, so a loaded question has to be called out. So first, I'm gonna call out the ridiculousness of you trying to use YouTubers as some sort of model for relationships in the real world. Most of these YouTubers are lying. So that just knocks your point out the box.
Yeah, but we're all first of all, we're on YouTube. The conversation is related to what we see on YouTube, so it's in context.
But no,
you're too old to be blamed to be modeling your life after
no, because you're not providing any empirical receipts on how good these women in the U.S. is.
What you mean opinions? I'll give you receipts. We can do GDP for Black America, right? And then women will be slightly under Black American men, right?
No, we're talking about dating and relationships.
I'm gonna go there. So we can go finances, education, healthcare, child, infant mortality rates. You give me the country, and then we'll compare them to Black American women, and you'll lose very badly.
No, comparing is not. Comparing is different from providing receipts.
Hey, Marty W, eat a fat dick, bitch ass nigga.
Provide receipts.
But there can't be receipts for social conversations.
But you're no different than these guys saying how good these foreign women are that don't got no receipts.
No, wait,
You're
but
no, you're no,
no,
you're
no,
no
I
different.
have the receipts though.
No, it's
When you,
not
when
just
you,
No,
all you
America.
have to do is
You
give me
gotta
the
include the
box.
West.
You
You
have to
gotta
tell me
include
what
this
box you're checking, and your box was that they cook more. And I responded that if you can't get a chick to cook for you, then you're slacking on your macking. No matter
yeah,
where it is in the world, a chick should be wanting to cook for you,
there,
unless she looks at you as an old
there's
trick.
there's just as many guys. I would say this. There's guys that got women cooking for them in the U.S. and there's guys that got women cooking from them overseas. We two things can be true at the same time. You know, my main observation is that whatever a guy can get in the U.S., he can get overseas a slightly more younger and or attractive woman for the same woman he can get. And there's nothing wrong if you get a better deal. If I buying a house in Texas is a better deal than me buying a house in California.
But you're speaking about women as commodities, and you keep honing
Hey,
in on the age. You're
Now you
40
sound
something
like
hey,
years
you
Nat.
old,
sounding
brother.
like some of
Hey,
these women.
No, wait, but you're saying
no, no
you treat
excuses.
women
No
like
excuses.
commodities, which is why you're having trouble with women, brother.
No
No,
excuses. Can I say
when
this
you
to
talk
Nat
about
Easy?
it's like when guys talk about women with high mileage and a woman say, "Oh, you're going to compare me to a car?" No, that is a female talking point. That is a
No
female
That
excuses.
talking
you're
point.
talking to, that
No,
you're honing in
can
on
y'all
the
hear me?
age as
Can y'all hear me?
a you're approaching middle age, and you're talking about you're looking for
Yeah, we can
25-year-old
hear you, Gans.
foreign. Come on,
Yeah.
man.
Can
Not
I
me,
say this to
not me
Nat Easy?
personally, not me personally.
Well,
But I get
then the
I get
dudes
what you're
that's
saying.
doing
I
it,
mean,
not
Let
you personally.
Nat Easy, let me say this. You Rico, I think Peso's on here too. But especially you and Peso. Y'all are in America dealing with these women. You're out of touch, brother. These women, these black women nowadays, they don't care about their appearance. They come outside any kind of way they want to look. Yesterday, a friend of mine
Wait,
sent me a picture
says
of a
the
woman.
fattest guy on the panel. You're
I'm
talking
too.
about people
Hey
not
Nat,
caring about their
hey
looks.
Nat, hey Nat, hey Nat. I just got on the scale this
You don't
morning.
have
I
enough
just got
body
on the
game to
scale
talk
this
about
morning.
women's looks.
Hey Nat, I just got on the scale this morning. I'm sorry to say you heavier than me, brother. I'm 215 pounds.
Salute. Now let's keep it going.
But listen, a friend of mine just sent me a picture of a chick on Ocean and Parkside. I'm pretty sure you know where that's at. The McDonald's on the corner, right? You know where I'm talking about,
absolutely.
right? In Flatbush. She's standing on the corner in her sleepwear, her pajamas, a pajama set, Crocs, and motherfucking in a bonnet. This is at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the afternoon. This is what we're dealing with
Damn.
in America, especially in New York, Nat. Brother, respectfully, you're out of touch. You're not over here. You're not dealing with these women. So, I mean, you can
Wait,
cape
what
for
I'm
the
saying,
sisters all you want, but
gangster.
you're out of touch.
All respect due, my brother. You acting like I'm not from the city. Like I don't like they didn't have that in the 90s too. You gotta elevate the type of chicks that you're interacting with. Hold on, brother. Let me finish.
But the environment's giving you that.
Let
But
me
the
finish.
environment
Let me
is
finish,
giving you all
gangster.
of these type of chicks.
Gangster, hold on. Let me finish. While you a chick in a bonnet and pajamas don't even catch my eye, bro. And those type of chicks are all over the world. They got them here in Europe. I see them all the time. So it's not about America. It's about worldwide culture in general is going down the shithole. And there's not a country on the planet that's immune to it. That's my point.
But it's
Point,
more
point,
prevalent
point.
in America.
Hold on,
It's more
point taken.
prevalent.
Let
Per
me get
capita is
JBL.
more prevalent.
Go ahead, JBL. You got the floor.
I'm just saying, like, it's more prevalent in America. It's more prevalent.
Salute, JB.
The odds of seeing that it's more widespread amongst different class groups and so on and so forth. It's just where it's the society, man. It's the environment, bro. Is the environment is trash. So why would I go? Why would I waste time, right? Trying to get that 4-leaf clover. You know what I mean? In a field full of weeds where I can go to another pastor and just do better because the odds are better of hitting it. You know what I'm saying?
Of
So
course, the odds
you
are
know,
better to get a dirty foot prostitute. Yes, you know what? I gotta do it for all y'all brothers. For all y'all brothers, tell me who your best dating coach is. I will pay for a session so we can teach y'all niggas how to get some game. Because y'all can't get no pussy in America. That's a shame.
bro, I
Yeah, I
got a wife,
mean,
bro. I got a full-fledged wife, dog, and I go overseas.
Let me
You know
ask
what
you.
I'm saying? And she know I go overseas, bro. I got one. You know what I'm saying? But the point is, it ain't about getting pussy. And I fucked something the other day. You know what I mean? It's really, it ain't about that.
Salute,
The
salute.
question, honestly, bro, it ain't about that, man. About whether you can or cannot get pussy. The situation that the environment is trash. We know this. And like, bro, why are you defending that the environment is good? It's not. I don't understand
There's
that.
no,
We
tell
can,
me the
we all
good
can see.
environment though.
Hold on,
JBL.
JBL. I
JBL,
would
tell me the
disagree
place
with
that has this utopia of women. JBL, please tell me.
Yeah.
Okay, for me, it's the motherland. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the
Well,
motherland,
that's a
specifically East
continent, brother.
Africa.
What country? What country?
Oh, okay, Kenya. I just go off of just, you know what I'm saying? I'll just say Kenya. And it's closer to the States than all of them, but it's still a way better situation.
let me see whoever.
Way
Hey,
better.
hey, Nat. Hey,
Hold on,
Nat.
but
Let me
I'm walking
pass
around
it
the
around.
streets.
Let
I'm
me
walking around the
pass.
streets right now. I should turn on my camera and show you, let you see what's going on out here.
Hold on,
And
again.
then maybe you'll understand.
Hold on. Let me get some people that haven't spoken in a while. GMT or Ulysses, y'all want to, or Tony, y'all want to say anything? Or
Oh
y'all?
yeah, man. I think you definitely get a better deal in Africa, and I think more brothers should come to Africa because I think in Latin America, what they chasing is a lot more prostitutes out there. But in Africa, you can get you a good woman with a job, or you can get a woman you can take care of, whatever you want. The options are here for you. It's not just like the pay for play like Latin America. You know what I'm saying? You can get you a real good woman out here. You can I dated lawyers out here. Some chicks that young professional woman, you can get anything you want, like a real woman, a real girlfriend, a real wife, if that's what you're looking for. I think Africa is the best bet for that. But that's it.
Well, the main thing is like I said again. If guys want nine, let's just say if guys want 9s and 10s, right? There are a couple ways. There's a couple ways that people are going about it. I'm using the Arab for example. The Arabs, the 9s and 10s that they get them as side pieces or prostitutes. That's how they get their 9s and 10s, right? Other guys do it too, pay for play for 9s and 10s. Some guys feel like they got to go overseas and marry a 9 and 10 that's very flawed, you know.
Oh, yo. One thing, Claire. I got Yemenis homeboys. One thing, quick thing. I got a Yemenis homeboys. They all date chicks in the U.S. and Michigan, but they all marry their wives from Yemen. They all go back to Yemen and get virgin wives. They play with the Yemenis girls from America. Don't even marry them. They play with the American girls when they up in Michigan, and then they all go back to Yemen to get their virgin wives. All of them. I got a bunch of Yemenis homeboys.
The saying goes, this is an old ass saying, man. You fuck 9s and 10s and you marry 6 and 7s. Point blank.
I want to ask you a panel question because you talked to JBL, you talked about environment. So I want to ask you guys, have you ever lived in the hood? I mean, like the project shit, right? So we wouldn't say that the majority of America is projects. We know that there are projects scattered throughout America, but that's not the majority of America. So in that environment, we know we get a certain type of people because it's poverty driven. People in poverty spaces talk a certain way, act a certain way, dress a certain way, look a certain way. When we get tired of that shit, we level the fuck up and we move out to the suburbs and to better spaces. Then we're around better classes of people. So when I hear this argument, I know that there are pockets.
Oh, okay.
Let me finish. That will okay. I can go to certain pockets. I'm outside the DC area. I go to certain hoods, and that's all I'm gonna see. But I don't stay in those fucking places. I elevate myself to a better space where I see a better group of black women, and that's the problem. I think those women are being ignored, and we're saying that the hood, America, is one big fucking project full of project ass broads, and that's not true.
Can I
Now,
rebut? Can I rebut? Can I rebut? Just do real quick with that. It's an anecdotal rebuttal, but it speaks to what you're. It speaks to counter to what you're saying.
Hey,
So
Ronan, can you
I
drop the
drive.
link? Go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I drive
I'll
Uber.
drop it.
Okay, so I drive Uber, right? And for on the side. And so there is a conversation. These weren't even black women at all. This was two women, one was Asian, one was white, early 30s. And I'm just listening to their conversation, right? One is, I picked them up in a very, very nice suburb, high area, a very nice hotel, right? Taking them to the airport. They're having this conversation between each other. This is to speak to like how the environment is skewed all the way up, all across the social classes, right? So there's, they were going back and forth about how freaking, the white one was talking to the Asian. They were saying, one was like, yeah, my boy, this guy I was seeing, whatever, he's in a different part of the country. She didn't want to go there because she doesn't want to give up her career. And the other one was agreeing and was like, yeah, to be honest with you, I've seen so many women get dealt badly or what have you, screwed over. I really feel like, I should just, it'd be better just to have a kid on my own. These are two women in their late 20s, early 30s, having this same conversation that in our community has already been, we've already had the independent woman. See, what I'm saying? That was back in the 80s and the 90s. But look, it has seeped all across the classes. You know what I mean? Like to hear this, what I'm saying? These women of this particular social status having this, I don't need a man independent shit. It's everywhere, bro. And you can't get away from it. And that's an environmental thing, not a quote unquote, just a hood thing or anything. It's all across the board.
This comment makes a lot of sense. Shout out to Man123. He said it's pointless to compare American women's net worth to foreign women because if a foreign woman came to the U.S., they'd run the bag up too. It's the environment. That's a fact.
So
I agree with that.
What we're saying is this environment that enriches us to have the ability to go overseas and be in the top 5% is the problem. And we have to admit that the environment is affecting us both, not just the women. We got to be fair, okay? If it's affecting the women, it's clearly affecting the men.
Yeah, it's affecting both.
We're not
Gender
immune to
identity,
it, right?
Yeah, gender
Go ahead,
identity
Tony.
is a real crisis. No, I'm just saying things like gender identity is a real crisis. You can identify as whatever the fuck you want in America. Some kid in my brother's high school identified as a wolf, so they had to refer to him as Wolfie. Fucking high school. A senior in high school, back in New York, when I grew up in New York, when I went to Martin Van Buren, you would get your ass whipped for shit like that. It wouldn't even be a thing. That's what I'm saying. It's weird. America is weird.
But Tom,
right now,
nobody
it's weird.
thinks you guys will
America is the greatest country on the planet.
Let me read the
not
super
just
chat
America,
real
not
quick.
just America. I'm sorry, Brazil, not just USA. I mean
Let me
America.
let me read
Jamaica too.
the
All
super
that shit
chat
is
real
weird.
quick.
All that shit.
Old Country Boy said, if you're not dating a woman under 30, please stop talking. Appreciate the super chat.
No game. Country girl don't have no game, so he ain't getting no pussy.
Now I will say this: yes, America is the greatest country on earth. Over when you add up all the things, positive, negative, yes, America is the greatest country.
Economically, it is.
I agree.
Exactly.
Economically,
Make money.
yeah.
That's it.
Economically,
That's money.
No,
but that's about it.
economically, militarily wise,
Technology.
Efficiencies.
protections against employer, protections against, I'm not going to get too. We have a lot of protections.
Listen, but no excuse. What's the number one complaint most guys got overseas? Because I know for me, when I go to the DR, how fucking inefficient, backwards, slow shit is. People in Africa are constantly crying how hard it is to get shit over there and the tax. So there's a lot of things that we take for granted. The road.
I would be. I've moved to different. I lived in 6 different cities in the United States. I haven't mustered up the the courage to live in another country yet, because it's hard. It's hard to leave the United States, especially when you got a lot of shit going for you. You know what I mean? The best I'm willing to do is split my year
Hey,
between the U.S. and another country. That's just me. You know what I mean? Different guys are in different points of their life. You know what I mean? Everybody's situation is different. But yes, the United States is the greatest country in the world. But as it pertains to dating and relationships, and dating includes casual dating, dating includes pay for play. I mean, obviously it's a better deal because guys got the receipts to prove it. So because I don't want us to talk in circles. So I have a two-part question I'm gonna pass to the panel, and that'll be kind of like everybody closing statements. So I usually go with the last person that came in. So it's a two-part question. You know what I mean? The first part is, do good girls finish last overseas, just like good guys finish last in the U.S.? That's the first part. The second part is that if guys want nines and tens, whether it's for sex or for marriage in the US or overseas, then what should they do? So we'll start with I don't know who dropped that. We'll start with who the international I can't read everything I'm
International.
on. International salute.
Salute to the panel. Got a lot of people I'm cool with on here, so salute to everybody.
Hey, what's up,
You said
Al?
do good girls finish last like good guys finish last in the States? Good
Yeah, so
girls
you might have
overseas?
missed the beginning of the stream, but basically I'm saying that like there's hypocrisy because men will say that good guys finish last in the United States because the good girls in the US they'll go for the bad boys, and therefore good guys finish last. Conversely, overseas, these quote unquote good guys that are traveling overseas, they're not going after the good girls in these foreign countries, they're going after the bad girls. So I'm saying, so that's why I titled the stream saying good girls are finishing last the same way good guys are finishing last in the US.
I don't think. I mean, I think a good girl is gonna win regardless. I think if she's fit, feminine, friendly, submissive, as they were saying, cooks, cleans, does her wifely duties, then she's gonna get chosen. She's gonna get scooped up. But guys are a little bit different. If you too nice, if you too overly friendly as a dude, then you get punished by society for that. So I think it's a little bit different.
Well, I mean, do you so you don't so when if guys are marrying and wifing prostitutes and hoes overseas opposed to the good girls, some of the good girls may feel like dang, like the hoes are winning. There's
Now,
foreign women overseas that see that like, man, these hoes winning. These Instagram hoes winning, these OnlyFans hoes winning. So good girls overseas can see that too.
I mean, it looks like good. It looks like bad girls in the States are winning because they on private yachts and private jets and all that stuff, and it seems like they're winning. They're winning short term, but they're not going to get married. They're habitual side chicks. They'll never. Nobody will take that serious. So, I mean, from the outside looking in, yeah, it might look like that, and it depends on what you define as winning. If winning is getting a husband, getting locked down, having a family, then the good girls are getting scooped up at a young age. They getting scooped up everywhere at a young age. And then the ones that are left over in their late 20s, early 30s, all that shit, yeah, they still might get somebody to wipe them up. Do they respect them? Do they respect the dude that's coming over there wiping them up whenever they're ex-worker and they've been with a million dudes and you still coming over paying full price for that? Do they respect them? Nah. Does the relationship last? Probably not. Or are they just using them for their money? So that's my opinion on that.
All right, now the second question is, and then I'm gonna drop you down, is if guys want nines and tens, you know, at a discount. Let's just keep it a bean. If guys want 9s and 10s at a discount, how should they go about it? How should they go about it? Whether they want a 9 or 10 for a wife, or for casual dating, or we're gonna leave it casual dating and for a wife. Pay for play, anybody can do that.
So we're talking about pros. We're talking about pros
A
or regular
9 or
chicks.
10. I'm gonna give my opinion on 9s and 10s, but your opinion on a 9 and 10. Some people think all 9s and 10s are pros. Some may think, they're regular girls 9s and 10. Just in general, if a guy wants a 9 or 10, whether for casual dating, or for marriage, how should he go about getting it?
I mean, you got to level up and be the best version of yourself to get a 9 or a 10. Depending on what you're looking for, if you're overseas, learning the language definitely helps with that. You're not going to be able to really have a successful relationship using Google Translate. So you got to learn the language. You got to get in the gym. You got to work hard. You got to, be that, provider that if you wanted to just stay at home and do that, then you got to be a provider. That kind of stuff. Just leveling up. That's the only real reason, the only real way that you can really get that is just being the best version of yourself. You got to have a good mouthpiece. You got to have charisma. You got to dress well. You got to smell good. All that stuff.
Okay, now marrying a prostitute, that's a 9 or 10. Is that the cheat code, or if that's the only way, if that's the only way you could get, if that's the only way you could get a 9 or 10, is a prostitute? Do you agree? Are you empathetic to that? Even if you might have.
I don't recommend marrying a prostitute at all, man. It's no, you're not winning at all by marrying a prostitute. Just because you got, you're in the company of a 9 or a 10, but that's not winning at all.
All right, cool, bro. I appreciate you coming up, man. Let me read the super chat. Nagmeezy, appreciate the 11 euros. He said, I feel sorry for brothers that gotta buy box overseas. Old what'd he say? Old Wookin Nub as niggas, man. Salute Nagmeezy, man. JBL, you can go next, man. Did you get the two-part question, or do I need to repeat it?
Nah, man. I kind of agree with the last guy that just stated, bro. I don't really believe like fucking with a 9 or 10 for marriage. Honestly, you at a disadvantage. You know what I mean? It's too much maintenance. You know what I mean? She's too into herself. My chick need to be into me more than I'm into her. Period. That's just kind of how I flow. So I don't.
Somebody got
I would
background noise. Shit.
Yeah, it probably is myself. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, that's my whole point. I don't even fuck with it. I would never want a 9 or a 10 for a wife. Period. On any level. That's just me personally.
And do you think guys are passing up good girls overseas for pros? Are good girls finishing last overseas?
I don't think so. You know what I mean? I fuck. See, the thing when you fuck with good girls, more or less, they're not 9s or 10s. You know what I mean? They're average looking people. I consider myself an average looking guy, so I just mess with average looking women. You know what I'm saying? I just stick in my lane. And if you're willing to do that, if that's okay with you, then you know what I mean. There's plenty of them out there. There's more of them out there. Your odds of getting one is much more to me overseas than it would be. I'm specifically talking about Africa because I don't want to fuck with Latin America. But yeah, in my opinion, it's much better option.
All right, cool, man. Appreciate you coming up, JBL. Let me get GMT Travels.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, well, I'll say with 9s and 10s overseas, it's gonna be kind of hard to in a real relationship because all my real relationships they've been at least like 8s overseas. Because the 9s and 10s overseas, even Africa, you got to bring your A game. Because a lot of dudes white, because you got Nigerians out here spending money, you got the white boys out here wifing the tall bad ones, and then you got the local dudes they wifing they catch them real early, the ones that are like more traditional. So if you want 9 10s overseas, man, you got to bring your A game.
Okay. And do you think good girls are being passed over for
In Africa,
pros?
I would say no because most of the dudes that I know got real girlfriends out here. They're regular girls. They look normal. They look normal, regular girls. And I say that's the best way to go if you want a real girlfriend over here. Because the most of the dudes, yeah, I know who got girlfriends. They have regular good girls, non-pros, just regular chicks. Most dudes that I know, you know. So, and I think in Africa is different from Latin America. 'Cause I think in Latin America, it's just a lot more pros running around. In Africa, it's not really that same level of pros. You have some girls that just want to get money on the weekend or something here and there, but you don't have that same hardcore level either. So it's like the non-pros are so easy in Africa is really no point in paying unless you just want to enjoy the moment or something. You know what I'm saying? It's not like Latin America where you have to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You have to do it. And there's so many non-pros in Africa. You don't even have to do that if you don't want to. You know what I'm saying? And there's so much good girls out here. Most dudes I know in relationships have good girls. So yeah.
All right, cool, bro, man. I'm gonna drop you down, man. Appreciate you coming up.
All right, for sure.
All right. Knack to the Measy, man. You there, brother?
Yeah, I'm here, man. You know, crying for y'all, shedding a tear for my brother. And that was a reference to my comment was a reference to Eddie Murphy on Saturday Night Live. It was like working Panub in all the wrong places. It's basically looking for love, ass ninjas. That's what we got here. Let's start with the 9 and 10s. One man's 10 is another man's 8, right? So it's all perspective. For me, for a woman to be a 10, she has to bring more than the box and just her face. Because at a certain point in your life, you have to look past the low level superficial BS. You know what I'm saying? Then when you look at this movement and a lot of brothers that's involved with it, all they are is about the flesh. They're not trying to build anything. They're really not trying to marry. There are some exceptions to that rule, but the majority that I see in these spaces are guys that are just going down to pay for box, and they crap on the Black American woman in the process. We have to protect our queens, our Black queens, at all costs. So I say, you give me a group of whatever women from whatever countries y'all like, and I'll give you a group of Black American women, judges, lawyers, politicians. There's no comparison, whether it be Africa, whether it be whatever. One brother made mention to Africa. Do you know 304s in Africa run rampant, and they're being sent by their husbands to target foreigners, as a matter of fact. So the game is crazy. I just say work on yourself, get your body game on point, get your money game on point. Listen to Knock Measy. I'll teach you dudes how to get boxed. I've been getting boxed, the finest of the fine New York City Latinas, blacks, whatever you want to call it, since I was 17, 16 years old. So I could teach y'all broke dusty dick niggas a thing or two of how to get some box.
Now, even though you cape for U.S. women, do you think that guys are passing up, let's say, educated women overseas, women that are, the good, basically the equivalent of a good girl? Do you think guys are passing those type of women up for pros?
It depends on who we're speaking about. I'm not going to include all Black men that travel in the passport bro movement, which I believe started out as a good thing, but it's been hijacked by a bunch of undesirables. So if we take the undesirables out, it depends on your social circle. So if you are a lawyer, then you run in circles of lawyers, and then you have access to the so-called good women. You know what I'm saying? But I think because of the hijack of that movement, a lot of Black men that travel are now being seen as mongers. I wouldn't been telling people since 2002 that the Black man needs to experience the rock star that we are, or at least that we were at this point, out of the country. Get your passport, travel, and just live life. But now I can't say that anymore because we've gotten a lot of riffraff, and our image is taking some hits.
Okay, man. Well, always a pleasure, man. With your perspective, man. Peace out. All right, let me get All right, Pan Africa, Pan African. Do I need to catch you up, or you been following the stream?
See, I've seen a little bit of it. Just give me a brief synopsis.
All right, well, let me just so we're doing closing statements. So I'll just the first question is guys that want nines and tens. Uh, how should they go about getting that? Whether it's in the U.S. or abroad. Some guys feel like their best shot of a 9 or 10 is a prostitute. Other guys have said getting a 9 or 10, you have to improve on yourself. So how should guys go about getting a 9 or 10, whether it's for marriage or casual dating? And then the other part is that do good girls finish last overseas like good guys finish last in the United States? Basically meaning that in the US, good guys are passed over because the women go after the Pookies and Ray Rays. Conversely, overseas, you know, the notion is good girls are being passed over and the guys are going after the equivalent Pookies and Ray Rays of women in those countries. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay, so for the second question, overseas, good girls definitely aren't being passed up.
Okay.
um, I think you do have a segment of travelers that may be into like the debauchery. They just gotta have that 9 or 10 or that you know freaky hoish chick. I mean, there are some guys like that, but even with those guys, you still have a lot of travelers that are looking for good women, traditional women. And if the travel guys don't pick those traditional women up overseas, then the local dudes will. Because even when you go to different countries overseas, I mean, you do see more women getting more westernized, getting into whole culture and stuff like that in the capital cities. But a lot of those top guys in those capital cities overseas, what they'll do is they'll have fun with those more westernized women, and they'll go to like the smaller city or the village or like a smaller area and wife those chicks up and marry them. And
Right.
they'll keep the more westernized chick as like side chicks or just friends with benefits type stuff. And let me see. You said the first question. What was
About
the first question again, real quick?
about nines or tens.
Oh, 9s or 10s. So the easiest way to get 9s or 10s is pay for play, of course. But depending on what country you're in, like you can find a loyal 9 or 10, depending on how she was raised. But it's gonna be a lot harder. But if you just want to not like a lot of guys that come from the West, they don't really have experience with 9 or 10s. They never gotten one. And so it's like it's almost like on a bucket list type thing. You know what I mean? Like they just, they got to get it out their system, have a little fun with a couple bad chicks or whatever. And I would say if you just want to get the experience, just do pay for play. And I'm not a big pay for play guy. I'm not a big proponent of pay for play, and I'm kind of neutral to it. But
Mhm.
if you want to, the easiest way to save time and money, and you just want to scratch that itch and smash a couple 9s and 10s without having to worry about cheating and stuff like that, then I would say pay for play is the way to go.
For sure, for sure. Yeah. I agree with that. Appreciate that, bro. Let me read the super chat real quick. Tony for the $2 super chat. Yes, 68 in the chat. Let's go. Appreciate everybody that's tuning in, man. But yeah, I'm dropping people down as they close off, man. So appreciate you coming up, Pan African. All right. Who this? Ronan. You got the floor, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 9s and 10s overseas, man. Obviously, a lot of these guys already hit on this point. If you want a quick 9 or a 10, you're gonna have to pay for it. And at the end of the day, if she's a prostitute 9 or 10, is she really a 9 and 10 overall? You know, there's a lot of 9s and 10s overseas that are already built into the social class. You already have wealthy people already competing for them. So they're going to come with a different type of attitude. If you're not ingrained into that social circle, if you don't carry yourself a certain way, there's no way you're going to meet those 9s and 10s on a regular basis overseas without doing that, if they're not pay for play. You know what I'm saying? So all this stems from content and character. You know, how you carry yourself, whether you make yourself belong, whether you ingrain yourself in the community by learning, you know, their culture, learning their language, you know, endearing yourself to the people there. You know, those are the ways you're going to find a 9 or 10, as long as you're staying there for a long period of time. You going over there as a weekend warrior or for 1 or 2 weeks or so, that's not going to be enough for you to get a 9 or 10 overseas. Sorry, it's not going to happen. You know, as far as good girls, man, it's always going to be easier to find a good girl overseas. Unfortunately, in America, they're blended in with the bad ones. They're all friends. You know what I'm saying? They dress alike. It's like they put on like a sniper's outfit, you know, in order to blend in, even though they could be good quality women. You got to wade through all the bad ones to get to that one good one that might be in the group. You know, so it comes down to your discernment, how she carries herself. You're going to have to talk to them. You know, a lot of people don't know how to have a conversation. They're more apt to be on a computer and typing in a fucking dating app than knowing how to physically talk to another woman and figure out the discernment. And then you got all the fantasy women that are IG, TikTok. You got OF models. Everybody else contributing to society as far as hiding, again, that good girl. Because what are men? We're visual creatures. We're looking at the outside. We're not looking at the content of her character, her heart, her loyalty, the things that actually matter. A brother brought up earlier, I would rather deal with a solid 6, 7 than to go for a 9 and 10. I agree. You know, unless she's some outlier 9 or 10, you're always going to have to worry about somebody imposing themselves on that woman to try to get her away from you. Not that I'm afraid of competition. I've dated them all, you know, but to have peace, you know, if she's not that person, you know, you're going to turn yourself gray real fast. And I've seen a lot of young guys younger than me, way grayer.
A headache. No, for sure, man. Well, appreciate you coming up, bro.
Hey, I'm working on that, man. I'm working on my little avatar, bro. I'm trying to get it to my age range, and I'm working on it. He's saying my voice and my avatar don't go together. Appreciate you always. No excuse for allowing me on the panel. Look forward to always great conversations and a variety of panelists to give their opinions. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Oh, Krusty Rico, man.
It always come down to me and you, don't it?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Man. So let me run it back. And I'll say this. The funny thing about it is I kind of agree with most of the closing, especially I definitely 1000% support JBL message as far as I'm always looking for a 6 or a 7 because I think that's a more comfortable space. And you know, so that should be the norm. I also believe personally that like out of all of human conditions, the overwhelming 90 to 95% of humans look very average anyway. There are very few percentage-wise of people that are considered exceptionally beautiful, you know, where we would say a 9s and 10s. Most people are anywhere from a 4 to a 7. A few people trickle to an 8. And then there's a small percentage of people that are just really objectively unattractive. Most human beings look like human beings. So what are we talking about when we say you have this large percentage of men or women expecting exceptionally beautiful people? That's just insanity. It's insanity. You haven't grown up with it. If you think about all the schools you went through, you haven't had a ton of beautiful people in your life. So, you know, why you think you should get it? I think it's insane. It's a fact when you go overseas. If you're with, I would say an 8, 9, or a 10, it's a pro. It's a pro, factually. Because here's one thing I do know: 9s and 10s have been beautiful pretty much all their life. That beautiful woman was a pretty kid. They've been told they've been pretty all their life. And just like they know, just like you see her and you see how beautiful she is, all the men of that country have been telling her that as well. So she knows she's premium. So she's going to expect premium. And 9 times out of 10 in their countries, absence to pros, they're always the most favored, and they're being hit on by the well-to-do men of their countries. So we never get an opportunity for them, period. We just don't. So even if I saw a passport bro or a Westerner with a strikingly drop-dead gorgeous woman, I'm going to know that that woman has history. Because you're not going to Colombia and getting the most beautiful women. They're with Colombian men. The same thing with Brazil, the same thing in the DR. That's what those countries are. Now, if you're with a beautiful woman, that woman got some kind of history. I don't care. Maybe she's divorced and got a couple of kids. So then at that point, they become tainted to the upper echelon of society. So that the bottom line is, and flat out, passport bros love hoes. We stop playing. They almost universally in the upper 90%, 95% of passport bros, no matter what country they go to, they always go to a city in that country that has a high rate of pay for play. They go to westernized, they leave westernized America complaining about how westernized it is, and literally will go overseas and go to the most westernized fucking city in that country. How do you go to Thailand and end up in Bangkok and fucking Pattaya? Those are two of the most westernized cities in Thailand. How do you go to Sosua? Or say those are the westernized cities in the Dominican Republic. They need to stop playing like they hate, because that's your comfort zone when you take your black ass overseas. You're not trying to go to a village and be the only nigga up in the village and having to learn the language. They're not trying to do that. They want the Uber Eats. They want the restaurants. They want westernized, but what they desire is women that are poor, where they have an economic advantage over, so that then they have the upper hand. And that's going to be pros that gravitate towards these cities to also take advantage of foreigners coming over there being fucking thirsty. So that's what they get. As far as to your narrative around the good girls finishing last, I would say yes and no. I think for passport bros and the travelers coming overseas, absolutely the good girls finish last. Because a flat out passport bros love hoes, period. They love hoes. You know it. I know it. They'll wife them up. They love hoes.
I love them too.
But here's the thing. Where the good girls are still winning in these countries, no excuses, is they're winning among the locals. That's where they're winning, because the local men are not picking the hoes over the good girls. They are preferring the good girls. But, so the good girls win among the locals, but they lose among the passport bros, and they lose among even the regular white travelers, because to get a good girl in those countries, you need to invest at least 3 to 6 months, and most of those lazy motherfuckers are not going to do it. Especially if you got to tell him, well, I'm not fucking you on the first date. You ain't getting pussy for 30 days.
Land your plane, Rico.
Landing the plane is, at the end of the day, good girls lose only among passport bros, because passport bros only want hoes. And as far as 9 and 10s, passport bros and travelers don't deserve them. They deserve them fucking adjustable fours that they fucking get back home if they get any. And my plane.
All right, man. Appreciate you, Rico. Let me chat, if you could click on the link Ronan is doing a live tonight, so if you could click on the link for his live and just hit the watch, what is it, notify. So make sure y'all click the link and support his live later on this evening. So my clothing statements is, well, when it comes to 9s and 10s, I'm gonna be honest. Most 9s and 10s in everywhere in the world you see are either on Instagram, some are on OnlyFans, but most 9s or 10s are not hidden and kept away secret. Most 9s and 10s are identified at a young age. They meet men that give them opportunities to be exposure, or whether it's on social media, modeling, things of that nature. So saying it all to say is that most 9s and 10s are damaged goods. Let's just start there. Most 9s and 10s are damaged goods. The only, and this is my opinion, the only way you can ensure yourself that you can get a 9 and 10 that's not damaged goods is if she's a virgin. And to find a virgin 9 or 10 will require you getting in good with a certain family or a certain circle that is going to introduce you, or if you meet her in college. But most guys aren't traveling overseas in college meeting college women. So that if you want a good girl and a 9 or 10, yes, you do have to be on the top of your A game, because they're obviously in the top 1% of their respective society. So you have to look as good, have a certain amount of money, or have a certain amount of money to get a 9 or 10. But like I said, in my opinion, most 9s or 10s are damaged goods. So when guys are marrying these prostitutes, to give them credit, at least they are typically they're attractive. When guys are marrying these prostitutes, they're marrying damaged goods, not just the amount of sexual partners she had. Most of the time her psychology is really messed up. That will have an effect on her being a parent, especially if a lot of psychological damage hasn't been uh, addressed or corrected, which means that if a reform, like I say, a reformed hoe, most guys probably are not even meeting a reformed hoe, right? They're meeting the chick that my phone ring. They're meeting the chick that they met in the game. They're not really meeting chicks retired from the game. They're taking them out the game. Other thing I wanted to land with is, as far as do guys want good girls or bad girls? What we seen in the passport bro space. Most of the actions I'm seeing where guys are, taking the pros out the game. It seems like guys want the bad girls. It seems like guys want the bad girls. So it destroys the narrative of that guys are traveling for better women, because if you're traveling for better women, you're not going to go for the bad girls. You're going to go for a quote unquote good girl on paper. So this is just another stream and another, and another topic that really exposes like what the narrative should be, or a narrative at all. The problem I have with the movement is that the movement was supposed to be a quiet movement, and people did what they wanted to do. You know what I mean? People could marry their pros discreetly. People could have their fun discreetly. But once people wanted to put things out on the internet and talk about them, then hypocrisy's got to be addressed and called out. So it's a gift and a curse. YouTube is a gift for a lot of people to monetize on, and then then people that's critics or people that want to tell the truth about travel, it's an opportunity for them too to combat the narrative. That's the gift. The curse is that, you know, some lies are going to be unraveled, and, you know, people are going to get heartbroken, disappointed, and the movement is tainted or tarnished because of, you know, bad actors. So I just wanted to close on that. Rico made a point that men want the upper hand. They want to have a financial leverage. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, men, you know, men want financial leverage in the United States. That's why a lot of men feel like they can't date a woman that makes the same amount of more money. So having leverage in a relationship or having control, you know, that's no different. Men want the same in the U.S., overseas, or abroad, or domestically. So I don't have a problem with guys wanting to have the upper hand. I personally think men should have the upper hand in the relationship. But let me see if I get any more of these chat. Zero trying to roast me, man. You gotta cam. If you're gonna call somebody a 4-0, you gotta cam up. You gotta cam up. I'm trying to see if there's any more comments that's important. He said I have a solid rotation. I'm young and fit. Your comments don't mean okay. You might be going after somebody. Jesse said it's a big movement. The more people that got in, the more people's agendas diverted, just like any movement. That's true. That's true. They can't afford the bad girls in the West. It's just that simple, man. Yeah. So a lot of good comments. We're not all going to agree on everything, but I'll be curious to hear what you guys leave in the comment section. Please like the video. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And appreciate all of y'all that's tuning in or tuned in. Peace out.